Hey everyone, Jared Gaspy, your local real estate superhero here. Again, we are in day 2, which should be Tuesday, of the top 5 biggest mistakes I see sellers making when it comes to trying to sell their home. That title is just a huge mouthful, and maybe we'll condense it throughout the week, but that's what we're calling it right now. So, we are in point number 2 of the top 5 biggest mistakes. It's not to say that this is the second most important mistake, or that it's the second least important of the 5. It's just to say that it is one of the top 5 and that none of the 5 are in any particular order, but they all have a big impact on the selling process, whether it be when you're on the market or whether it be when you're in escrow. And so what we wanted to go over today is something that I still feel is really important, and it goes over a little bit of what I've been saying the last couple of days, which is just to say that these mistakes aren't always the mistakes that people make all of the time, and they're not always the most ridiculous mistakes to make. You know, most of them, if not all of them, are grounded in some kind of core logical basis, and they just sort of go off the rails a little bit down the road. And so whenever I say that they're the biggest mistakes, that doesn't mean that they're the dumbest mistakes, and it doesn't mean that they're the mistakes that necessarily ruin an entire situation. It's just to say that they're the mistakes that I feel like can cause the most stress for a lot of people, and I'd really rather they didn't have to deal with that at all. And so right now we are on Tuesday, so we're at point number 2, and that is basically the idea that people are going to offer less than my asking price, so I should have a higher asking price to meet that. And so whenever I say that, what do I mean? I basically mean that there are a lot of people who will, when they're on the buyer side, go in below asking for their initial offer, even if they think that they may have to go above the asking price in order to get the deal done. And that's just to see what kind of give they have, what kind of leeway they have on their offer, and how much the sellers actually want to sell. And so you go in lower than you think you're actually going to get it at, and usually someone meets somewhere in the middle. And so from a seller's perspective, that's scary, because if you think that your home's going to sell at $500,000, but someone's going to come in at $480,000, then you're going to want to go above $500,000 in order to get them to go to $5, right? Wrong. And it's not to say that it's ridiculous, it's just to say that it is wrong. Mainly because of the simple fact that the mentality there isn't the mentality of a buyer, it's the mentality of a seller. And so it's sort of where fear kind of takes over just a little bit in the selling process. So the logic is, if someone's going to offer me less, then I should just start with more, and then they ask for what I actually want. And that's not a ridiculous notion, it's not a ridiculous idea. It's just built from the perspective of a seller and not from the perspective of a buyer. And so when you do that, essentially what you're doing is scaring anyone from ever wanting to look at your listing to begin with. And so at the beginning of this, I pointed out the fact that some buyers will go in at a lower asking price for their initial offer than what they even think they're going to get. Some people will go in below asking, knowing that by the end of it, they may even have to be paying more than asking. And I've actually had that happen quite a bit from me representing sellers, where I go at a price that I know will get more people looking at the home. And so you go there and you see 7 other people that are extremely interested, and of those 7, 4 people make an offer. You know that you're going to be in a bidding war. And so if you're okay with that, you go in against these other 3 people, and so you start low and you just see exactly what your competition is like. And when you realize that the competition is real, you end up having to go higher, and then bidding wars start, and whoever ends up winning usually ends up being above the asking price, not below. But from a seller's mentality, you know that they're going to start off less than what you want. So what do you do in order to meet that? You go higher. It just doesn't work that way. When you start above what the market says your home should be at, you do 2 things. You scare people away from wanting to even look at your home to begin with, because of the fact that they either see the fact that you aren't willing to negotiate at all, and that you have these unrealistic expectations. And so they get worried that what's the point even going and talking to this person if they're not going to try to work with me here? And so if you're not willing to play ball, then why are we going to get in the field? And so that's the mentality, one, that you give to the buyers whenever you do something like that. The second one is, let's say that they believe that the value is there. 1, it's not going to pass through appraisal if it's that high above, and 2, they're just not going to look at it at all. If they can't afford it, but they could afford your actual asking price, you're cutting your clientele base in half. And so one thing that can definitely happen is if you price it just below where it's actually supposed to be, then you're going to get 10 people looking at the home rather than 5. And if 1 out of every 3 people looking at the home puts down an offer, then if you get 5 people looking, you're going to get 1 offer. But if you have 10 people looking, you're going to get 3 offers. And so, sure, of those 10, maybe one of them doesn't qualify for as much as the others, but you can start an actual bidding war in order to get everyone to come up. Whereas if only 5 people look at your home, it's just you and them. And then you do have to meet in the middle. So basically, by putting your offer and your asking price higher than where it should actually be, or where you think it should actually be, you're actually convincing people that it's a deal that's not even worth trying to make. Versus if you play ball, you may start lower, or you may end up getting less, but you also have a better shot of getting more. And I think that that's the moral of the story in this one. And it's the big deal that I want everyone to take from this. Starting at where you think your home should sell at, not trying to push it for more, not trying to just get everyone to take it off of your hands and start with significantly less. If you start where you think your home should sell, that's usually one of your best bets to get it to sell for more. But starting high is one of your best bets for getting it to sell for less. Because the worst case scenario, whenever you put your home on the market for $20,000 more than what you think it should even sell at to begin with, is that it sits there. And then 3 months in, you end up dropping it down to what you knew it was supposed to sell at, but then everyone's wondering what's wrong with it. And you don't want that for your home, because no one's going to want to look at something that no one has wanted for 3 months. And so what you want to do is start a feeding frenzy at the very beginning to get you top dollar and stop anyone from offering you anything less than what you deserve. So play the game right and find someone who can play the game for you. As an agent, it's my job to act as your coach. You're the quarterback. Whichever direction you want to throw the ball in, that's you. But I can tell you which direction I think will work best, and if you trust your agent, which you should, then they're going to tell you which direction you should throw that ball, and that way you can score as much as you possibly can, and you win the game. So find someone who can coach you right, who can teach you what it means to really sell your home for as much money as you can possibly get out of it. So do that. That's point number 2. Thank you again. See, it's stuff like this. I feel like I dragged on a lot with this point, and so trying to condense this into one video was just never going to happen. So I'm glad that I'm doing it into 5 videos over the course of Monday through Friday. We are in Tuesday. I'll have topic number 3 of my top 5 biggest mistakes that sellers make when it comes to trying to sell their home tomorrow, and that should be on Wednesday. So I will talk to you guys later, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks so much. Bye.